Aloha and welcome to today's Chiefs 9 episode. I am Command Chief Master Sgt. Zandra Fox, the Hawaii National Guard Command Enlisted Leader.
And I'm Jeff Hickman, Director of Public Affairs for the State of Hawaii Department of Defense. Welcome to the Chiefs 9 podcast. You see the nice logo behind me. So this is a series on our brand new podcast efforts from the State of Hawaii DoD. The umbrella is going to be called the Nakoa Exchange, Wings, Boots, and More. And we're brand new into the podcast world, so we decided to throw Chief into the fire first.
Thank you.
And she came up with about 9 initiatives or topics that she wanted to talk about. So we're calling it the Chiefs 9. So you'll see that logo behind us. We've got multiple episodes on YouTube Music, Spotify, and Apple. A lot of the episodes are 2 parts or there's bonus, so you'll see the numbers. It's not going to sync up with 1 through 9, but they're great episodes. Please check them out, like and subscribe when you can.
Yeah, and so we hope that our listeners out there will gain some insights, some nuggets, some perspectives from our guest speakers here today. Perhaps you might use it during your professional development within your formations or your organizations, and I hope that it can just normalize some conversations and just create open discussion on what our leaders are thinking and feeling within the Hawaii National Guard. So today's topic I'm really excited about. It's titled Women in Combat Arms. I have with me today my co-host, Jeff Hickman, Director of Public Affairs, and our 2 guests. Thank you so much for being here today. We have Captain Burly and Captain Naki. Can you guys give us a brief introduction and your Guard story, how you joined the Hawaii National Guard?
Aloha, everybody. My name is Captain Ulu Burly. My Guard stories I've been in for 11 years now. I am a graduate of State OCS. And the positions that I currently hold is I'm a battery commander at 1st 47th Field Artillery Regiment, particularly Bravo Battery. And I also have a dual hat. I am the AGR AS3 for the battalion. My Guard story is, how I came into combat arms is while at OCS, I had no idea what field artillery was. And there were 3 females in my class. One was already chosen by Colonel Barros to go to engineer sapper. So she was the first female there. And then my other battle buddy chose medical, and it was like she was going to get it. So we had the battalion commander at the time, Colonel Falefine. He pretty much had no choice. He needed a female. I was the only one left. You're it. And from there, I went into the 47th. I've held the positions of fire direction officer, platoon leader, Battery XO. I did a tour in Afghanistan as an OIC at Tarankot. And I also concurrently served at USERPAC in the G33, and then did a little stint as a technician as the quota source manager at G3. And then got hired as AGR, and here I am.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Captain Kuhinapuitetamalai Naki. I'm the headquarters battery commander out at the 487. On my full-time side, I'm the HRO AGR branch manager until we have someone come in. So that was something that was new. My Guard story is a little different. So graduated Khmer Schools 2015. Imua. So I was blessed with that opportunity. Blessed when I went to New Mexico Military Institute and commissioned in 2017. I was 19 years old coming out. So a lot of steps I took in my career has been at a young age, on top of the topic of being in female combat arms. But for me, just continuing to go through the ranks, I've been blessed with the opportunity to help with the state active duty mission since 2018. So I'm a Guard baby, and I've been here from the beginning. My family is the reason why I'm inside the Guard right now. And to me, the Guard is my family, and this is where I'm going to be for years to come. But that's my story.
All right. You mentioned some of the state active duty missions. What were they?
So in 2018, when I jumped onto state active duty, my top, so for Sergeant Manuel, when they're looking for soldiers to jump on to support on the Big Island, my name went onto the roster, which is a big blessing for me during that time. And I ended up getting found outside of this building that we're in right now, eating lunch for a substitute to someone that was holding a position up at the Diamond Head area. And I've just been here ever since. So from the lava to the floods to the hurricanes to what was going on for the protest, COVID, and even into the Maui Lahaina wildfires. I've just been blessed to be over here for all of those missions.
Wow. And you deployments under your belt and state missions?
Yes, sir. Not state missions. I've somehow missed those, but I think it's because I was on Title 10. I did USERPAC, current operations prior to deployment, so 2017 to 2019. Went on deployment 2019 to 2020, Operation Sentinel Freedom, and then came back and went right back to USERPAC. They love me there.
hell
Yeah.
They love me.
So it's bad luck then for the Guard when you go on Title 10.
Yeah,
That's when all the
exactly.
disasters were. I was wondering.
Yeah. By design, I guess.
There's a
Yeah.
secret right there. Okay. Before I get to my first question, I was wondering if I could ask you guys for a fun fact. Something about yourselves, maybe you do on the civilian side, or a hobby, or a crazy food or event you did. Something interesting about yourself.
This is when I usually do the combat arms,
Yeah.
but we already know that. No,
So why is it
a fun fact.
yeah.
I'm the first combat arms female in the history of the Army National Guard. Always a fun fact. One that I wasn't always proud to say. You know, I kind of put on the back burner, trying to be humble and modest. But I learned as I grew. I'm proud of it. I'm still proud of it, and it's something.
I love to dance. So I'm not as involved. I know I keep saying came from Khmer schools, but as much as I wish to be a part of the culture, that's kind of how I've been connected to it. So luau, still dancing, trying to sing when I'm not tone deaf, but dancing, and that's kind of what I've been doing, what I did before this, before I was able to jump on orders and be with the Guard. So it's still something I enjoy doing.
She's really good at it.
Yeah, you still dance.
I still
seen you
dance
dance
for
at some of our
see at the Guard,
ceremonies.
the Guard
So
functions.
if you need a
That's
dancer,
me.
there we go.
Thank you.
You get military discount.
Military discount.
Yeah.
But
2%.
not free.
Not free.
Not free.
All right. So our first main question we wanted to ask is, how did you get into combat arms?
I was not chosen, I should say. I was voluntold that I was going to be the first female in combat arms when I was in officer candidate school at RTI. And at the time, I had zero idea of what cannon artillery was. I could barely call for fire, you know. And what Colonel Falafine had told me at the time was, hey, it's going to be you. We need one. You know, you're strong. You got a strong personality, someone that can handle, you know, the men at the unit. And then it just went from there. I came to 487 as a second lieutenant, went right to BOLIC after OCS, then came to 487 as second lieutenant. And I remember my first annual training was XCTC. And I had to stand up in like a auditorium, and I remember Major Gabbard at the time was there, and we had to talk about, you know, what is this new transition, being the first female in combat arms. And I remember, and this might have been a detriment to my career going forward, was I said, you know, I want to acclimate to the men. You guys don't have to change anything for me, right? And I think that is one of the things that later on posed a challenge, you know. But I'll save the rest for later. But that's my story and how I came into the Guard.
Okay.
And if
So mine's when I had graduated, went to the early commissioning program. So instead, those that's not familiar with the early commissioning program, instead of the 4 years of ROTC, you do 2 years. So that's how I ended up commissioning at a younger age. You still have things that's your requirements to progress in your career, but coming out of New Mexico Military Institute, you're supposed to pick a unit where you're going to go if you have college. Was I the strongest student? No, but I had a lot of family support coming back, and just having the family members that were in 487 at the time, and then just that history between them. That's how I ended up back at the same unit as my family members. So that's when I got pulled into the artillery side. I didn't think my personality, because those that know me, I'm a little different. But I didn't think that it was going to blend well on that side. But really, everyone's just a big family on that end. And then you just find your friends, people that can relate to the situations that you're going through and understand, because you just can't complain to everybody if you got something going on, because you might be complaining about nothing. So just got to be careful and who you talk to. That's how I got to 487. Family.
Yeah. And we were in the same battery as second lieutenants. So we were both born in Charlie Battery, and we grew up together. It's a nice dynamic. You know, I was 32 at the time. You were 19.
Yeah.
So you took her in.
Yes,
I
yes.
was,
Come
yeah.
here.
She
Yeah.
did save me because people send you on random shenanigans, and she's like, she didn't have to correct
Don't
me.
do
She's
it.
like, don't worry, I got it. And she left, and someone's like, someone tried to get you. I was like, oh, grateful.
It's nice to have somebody
Yeah, it's nice
like
to have
that
somebody.
to connect with.
Yeah.
So, you kind of touched on some of those challenges that you were speaking of. Do you care to share a little more about what challenges you have with integration within a combat arms unit, being the only female, and like you mentioned,
Mhm.
I don't want to be I don't want to be excluded. I want to be, I want to be part of it. Don't
Right.
change anything for me.
Right,
So,
right.
can you talk a little bit about that?
So I did say that, and I look back and I think it's such a mistake. But the term or the cliche, be one of the boys, comes to mind, and that's what I was trying to do, trying to be one of the boys. And what I learned is, you can trust some, and you can't trust, and you can't. There are some that you can't trust. And what I also learned about acclimating to men is that I'm not a man. Of course, I did the same exact physical feats that it was required of me to be a field artillery officer, but I have different needs. I think things through differently. I lead in a kind of more nurturing way. And the challenge that proved going on from maybe year 1 through maybe till I was a captain is I learned that the perception of my strength is misconceived. It's conceived as being a bee at times, rather than just being strong and standing up for things that I think are right, like men get to do all the time. There's an uncomfortability I sensed in my experience when I'm talking and men interject because they just don't want to hear what I have to say, is the way I interpret it. Those are the kind of challenges that I've dealt with. And how I combat that is I've been known to get scolded for my tone or for my approach, because I just fire back. No, I'm talking, scolded on the side, you got to come take a little bit of approach. You are a leader, and it's true. Like, as a leader, you change towards your environment, your subordinates, and so I have to reflect on that. And I do a lot of the times. It's always up and down. Sometimes, nope, I'm standing firm. Or no, okay, you're right. I need to take a different approach. And I always get help from actually my male counterparts. I have a male battle buddy, Captain Cameron Cusick, and CW3 Brandon Shirishi. Those are like my guardian angels. They're like, hey sis, calm down. Maybe you should, approach the situation this way, and you might be heard the way you want to be heard.
Absolutely.
I think it's so difficult being the pioneer, being the first, because there's no history. You're the tip of the spear, and you don't have mentors yet, and that's like that's like the Jackie Robinson. It's a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And as a man, seeing females come into the combat arms, I welcome it. But I can see how it would be a challenge for them because of the change. It's like they can't accept changes easily. I loved hearing about you come in with a different leadership style. But then there's the cliche, if you come off too angry, you're a bee. And that's just something that's out there. So
Yeah.
that's you have a lot of challenges you have to overcome. A little easier for you, but still difficult. And you're going to get more and different challenges.
Yeah. Would you say that the Hawaii Army National Guard supported the integration? Did you feel, hey, you're just going to show up and start doing the job, learning and doing the things? Do you feel like those conversations were being had when it came to integration?
When I first came in, yes, and in with consideration to recruiting, I felt like the support died down after maybe the first 2 years. I did a couple commercials, went out, talked to students and other units to try and recruit, and then after a while, the support went away. But at the same time, now I'm onto my career. The support is actually the support. Develop yourself, get in there. And with 487, I love this unit. Let me just preface that. I love this unit. No other place I'd rather grow up. But they have a strong culture. And unfortunately, the local male, doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, just the local dynamic of males, they're hard to crack. And that's just, they support me in their own way, I should say. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was good to hear that you had two guardian angels that gave you the advice and helped to guide you. Yeah, that is a tough gig. So
A lot of it's hard because as like we are different as females, we see things different, we express our feelings a little bit differently, and so you're coming in, you don't know, right? So it's good that you have connected with your tribe, right? Essentially. So yeah. What about you, Captain Naki? What challenges have you experienced with integration or
Dealing with the aftermath of my mistakes.
the weight.
I love it.
I think just like integrating for me, it's kind of when we got there, just do your job. What are you supposed to do here? I wasn't MOSQ, so I didn't go to BOLEC yet. I was at the unit for a little bit, even before I went to BOLEC. Actually, right after BOLEC, I took command. So she had all these steps that she had done before me. Mine's more so was figuring out like what I was supposed to do, because it's not just like, example, Captain Burley's responsibility to make sure I know what I'm doing. Like that's something that females integrating, we just have to know, like, we chose to be here, like we chose this branch. So figuring out when we're supposed to say what, and like progressing ourselves like in our career, focus on what we got to do, like the noise behind us, because people are always going to say everything. We can understand the culture and make sure that we're respecting the culture that's there, but we don't have to tolerate things that's going outside that shouldn't be happening. So understanding is a big thing when you walk in. It's not like you're going to change everything, step in your foot in the door, but understanding the environment that you're going into and respecting it, but knowing when to say something, not just for yourself, but for other people. Like her for me, me for the next person, specifically for females, since this is the topic right now. But even for the lower enlisted that don't have the voice or a strong opinion, like some of us have.
Right.
Some of us are a little louder than the others. So,
but it comes with time, right?
It
and
does.
you
It does
find
come with
your
time.
voice, you
Right.
can now be more comfortable
Right.
and have that confidence to like find your voice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for a reason. I have what it takes, and you guys should know I'm pretty
Right.
much bad,
right.
Bad,
So just understanding our role is the main thing, like our role,
Right.
and then how far we can step, not to just overstep, but making sure that we're utilizing the position that we're in, like for others, like in that leadership role, because some, like we have our female specialists that's in, they don't have the same voice, like voicing abilities that we do. So Captain Burry speaking on behalf of those that she has in her battery, and then me for my battery.
And
or for those in
they
the
probably
battalion.
look at the rank structure too differently too. So I think that kind of could provide another different maybe communication barrier.
Right.
I mean, and all this is new. You said 2015.
2015 still new,
Still
yes, sir.
new.
Yeah, I think so too. Still
So
fresh.
You're coming into a unit that, somebody's been there 20 years and now there's a female in charge, which if anybody's had a mom, they know. That's a solid leader,
Right, right.
So on behalf of men, I apologize for the ones who don't get it yet. But it's sounding like, I mean, you love your unit, so it wasn't a complete negative experience. There is some, and I think even if a new second lieutenant comes in, you would probably agree, a male comes into 487 new, that guy's going to have a hard time because again, he's got to get into the culture.
Yeah.
You guys just have
Like a new person.
an added layer
Yeah.
in there. Oh my goodness. And so how can you empower females in the combat arms? So whether a new lieutenant comes in, a new specialist, and you said and I remember the campaigns, I was still in when you did those. In fact, we had a midweek. You did a midweek cover, and but you would do recordings and you would go meet people, and there was a hype train. It's like, okay, it's 2015, 2016, look what we can do, and they held you up. And I know that's kind of died down, but what can you guys do now, or what can the Guard do to empower other females?
I think get a female NCO in combat arms. I tell my we're both about to change out of command, and my females after JRTC, which is like our culminating training event, a lot of camaraderie. They're like, oh ma'am, I'm gonna miss you. What are we gonna do? We're gonna get a male back. And I said, don't worry, he's cool. That's my battle buddy. But besides the point, but what you guys gotta do, and I hope this in part, what you guys gotta do is you guys gotta stay in. You got to pick up that NCO rank, because that's what I feel like that's what we lack. As officers, we're not supposed to be barkers, but because we're the only female, and we usually are. But we need strong women NCOs in 487, and I hope I've empowered them enough to be like, hey, stay in this unit, do what you got to do. If you run into any problems, you call me or Captain Naki, and stick with it, and get to that next rank.
I would say the same thing, just us being open and available. It's like the female soldiers. The 13 series, yes, because we have them in 487, but we have medics. We have people that's not just 13 series, that's in the artillery series. Like we have our supply guys. We have people in radar. Them knowing that they can talk to us, call us, like actually engaging with them, making sure that they're okay, because they're also coming into the culture. They're not necessarily doing the jobs of 13 series, but keeping in mind that we have all the other MOSs as well within the battalion, because there's Fox too. And anyone coming to 487, like it's a strong culture. And when we say culture, when people come to Hawaii from the mainland, that's a strong culture. Then they got to come into the unit, the guard. There's a bunch of cultures and cultures, so that's the stricter and stricter that it gets. But I think just being available to them and being honest and open with our experience. Because if they come to us and they ask, "Oh, what should I do?" Just be honest, because sometimes maybe we just hid something because we thought, oh, it was in the best interest of everybody else. Not if it was in the best interest of ourselves, because maybe it's, new female, I don't want to be the one that complains, but sometimes if it's better for them, just making sure that they know, like, it's the right thing to do, go say something, or I'm going to say something for you.
Yeah. And I think that definitely empowers somebody. Just go do it. I'll be here to support you. Here's how you can get there, and here's what you can do to communicate that. So, yeah. It's amazing. I love it. So I guess who inspires you? What mentors do you guys have?
To be in or out of the military.
Yeah, in or out.
Oh, who inspires me? There's so many guard, and not just FA. Definitely General Tamashiro comes to mind. Colonel Hatcher. Just so my FA superiors. Colonel Tui. Outside of FA, Lieutenant Colonel Hayes, Major Burdett. So my FA gentlemen that inspire me, their brain capacity. They are really smart and intelligible about fire support, cannon artillery. And I've learned this from, hearing about their tales and then also seeing them in action when we go into exercises or in training in IDT and AT. I'm a huge listener. A lot of the things that I've learned in my branches because I listen to these great men. And so they inspire me to read more, know my craft, being a woman, know my craft. Because remember when we went to BOLIC, it's like all of this math and like historically, even in high school, I just thought men are just way better at math. It just, well, here we are with our interpolation. Right? So they inspire me. They inspire me to be better at my job. And then there's Colonel Hayes, Colonel Ellison. Those are just the two first females I met coming into the Guard, and they just looked like a pillar of strength to me, And I hear their accomplishments and what they do, and I see them around and what they do, and they always talk to me. They inspire me to be a good woman leader in this organization.
They inspire men too. So that's a great leaders.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is a hard question because there's so many people. If I say somebody, I'm gonna feel bad.
There's plenty. If I missed
you, we edited out the main list. What are the few?
Yeah, what are the characteristics maybe of these leaders that?
I just want to say, people know that I had a hard time, like coming out of college and everything, and like finding my path where I was gonna be. I got taken care of a lot in the Guard, and like the colonels, lieutenant colonels, majors, captains, the E7s and the E6s that took care of me and made sure like I had even just a place to stay. Like, I'm forever grateful to everyone in the organization and those that helped me. I know you know who helped me because it was a lot of help. I just want to say thank you. But if I'm picking someone just to say out loud, I'm going to go with my grandma. She's really strong, and no matter the age, she's still cutting branches on top her ladder. In Kaneohe, in a Huimanu. She's going strong. She's really determined, like, vocal about her opinions. She's always, anything I do, like, she'll support it. Anything. Drove down the road. Oh, I remember to put gas. Phenomenal. Just granddaughter point. Like, everything always supportive for me. And I want to make sure that, like, that same kind of love, and I know Captain Burly brought it up too, like, that nurturing leadership. Some may think of it, like, as like a weaker style of leadership because it's coming from a female. But I think it empowers like females or low enlisted that don't have like the ability to speak up with other leaders, like that they can come to us because they know that we have that kind of care, because nurturing isn't a weakness. It's a passion for those that you're serving, like a passion for what they're doing and a passion for like the overall mission for the battalion. I don't think that's a weaker style of leadership. I think that's something that's hard for leaders right now to do normally. I think it's a strength. So for me, my grandma, she's my nurturer. Shout out to my grandma. That's what I'm grateful for.
Like get the slipper too.
Yeah, and the slipper. But the slipper is valid most of the times, you know what I mean? But just grateful for everyone in the organization, from all the way up to all the way down.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I liked how you kind of described your mentors, the ones that were like smarter, like you said, and it kind of motivated you to have a growth mindset and continue to learn your craft and work on those weaknesses. And, you know, like you talked about taking care, basically they were taking care of soldiers at that point and the quality of life, quality of life and making sure that you were taken care of so that you can be the best version of yourself, you know, at that time, even and moving on. So yeah, I think that's great.
We covered different leadership styles in one of the podcasts, the leadership spectrum, and it was with, I think, Sergeant Major Kumalai. And so it's talking about when sometimes you lead, you have to say it and they got to do it. There's no reason behind it. I just need you to do it. And then there's the nurturing on the other end of the spectrum where, you know, sometimes you coax, you know, you give hints and you let them know that they have potential. And so sometimes you get it both ways. And so I don't think nurturing is a weak way. And like I think you've said, you got to adapt. Sometimes you do it this way. Sometimes you do it that way. Sometimes you get corrected.
Right.
You know, sometimes you get the guard slipper.
Right.
You know, so
I don't have that.
so you know,
One
Chief,
too many times, guard slipper.
who inspires you?
You know, this process alone, just with the Chiefs 9 podcast, has been amazing. You guys are all inspiring. Seriously, like I'm not just saying that, but I'm writing things down. I'm like, wow, these different perspectives like opened up my eyes like to things that I probably don't ever experience. You know, so it's kind of great to have gotten to know our guest speakers through the course of this. This is one of our last episodes, I believe, and so I think it's just been amazing to reflect back. And so I appreciate you guys sharing your insights. I don't know. I just think being a Command Chief Enlisted leader just inherently inspires myself just to make sure that I can also lead from the front and be able to impact changes. And people come to me and ask me questions. But I don't know. I just hope that this Chiefs 9 podcast definitely leaves a legacy behind for people to listen to it, get some tidbits. Not only that, but maybe you become their mentor, whoever might be listening out there, right? And hopefully they can reach out and like, oh, I need to talk to that person. They've said something that resonated with me. So, you know, I just feel very inspired, you know. Thank you guys. Let's see. So, do you want to end?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to wrap up. We always like to ask our this last question to you guys. What advice would you give to our younger, I say female soldiers, but I think just younger soldiers and airmen about entering this realm in combat arms, maybe any of the uncertainty, maybe some of the challenges you've experienced, maybe you're going into a situation that's not comfortable for you. What advice would you have in this whole topic?
I'll go first. My advice to young airmen and soldiers would be, if I can do it, you can do it. I am a graduate of Waianae High School.
Okay.
Didn't get my degree until I was 28.
West
Enlisted
Side.
at 30. Yes, sir. Enlisted at 30. I already had 2 kids, single parent. You know, I had the struggles of life. I've been through everything. My advice is to have grit and resilience and perseverance. And if it's your goal, do it. Do it. And get a mentor. So I think that's where what I didn't do early on is get a mentor, get someone you can talk to that you're comfortable with sharing everything and you know, hear their advice and apply their advice so that you can continue doing good work in the Guard.
Do something similar for everyone that's new coming in. You just gotta choose a path. You gotta be gritty. You gotta be determined when you're going for what you want. Passionate about what you're doing, because if you lose your passion, then you might lose your path. Find your mentor, like she said, someone to talk to. You gotta find your tribe, who you can talk to, your trusted circle of people, and just surround yourself with people that uplift you, not people that's tearing you down and whose, I guess, your success kind of hurts them. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with good people, positive people, people that's trying to help you, and in turn, make sure you're doing the same thing for others.
Great advice.
Hikino.
Hikino.
What does hikino mean for those
Can
who
do.
don't know?
Let's go.
Can do, sir.
Can do.
Can do.
All day, every day. Hikino.
I love
There.
it.
So 487 yells hikino at every event, anytime it's mentioned, and people learn to expect it.
Right, even when it's not welcome.
Yeah.
Even in uncomfortable circumstances.
Yep,
Have to
funerals.
Right.
Yeah, funerals. Yep, it's expected.
Right.
Unit pride,
Yeah,
that's
it
how you
is.
know they're in the audience, that they're there and they're present. Right?
Fort 7 has always been known to be a very strong unit. Very, it is a hard nut to crack, and they're also really good at basketball
Yes, yes.
and sports and get-togethers. So,
Yes, and
no,
get-togethers.
Great units.
Yeah. Well, our time is ending here, and so we're just going to wrap up. I want to thank you both, Captain Burly and Captain Naki, for coming out today and being with us here today on our podcast series, The Chiefs 9. Mahalo for coming and sharing your personal stories and insights and your leadership's perspective. Mahalo to my co-host, Jeff. And then Andy behind the screen there, working out the noise. And I'm Chief Fox. Thank you for joining us today on the Chiefs 9 podcast. Until next time, aloha.
Aloha.